Välkommen to min fjord. This is Archaon Month, day 44. And today we've painted up the last of the details on Archaon. Not finished them, mind you, but painted them up. So for those of you who were yesterday, the last details were Archaon's hair and the cloak. So we've got paint on the hair, we got paint on the cloak. So technically I could now put them on the table, but even though I'm happy with the hair, I'm not happy with the cloak. Because I'm not very good at painting cloth. My undead don't have cloth, much cloth. My stormcast don't. My chaos don't have a lot. None of the armies I painted really have much in the way of cloth. So, to improve my cloth painting skills, I decided to follow an heavy metal masterclass painting guide in White Dwarf. So this is White Dwarf November 2016. And it's got a really good guide on how to paint like top tier cloth. And black leather at that, so that it matches Archaon perfectly. Unfortunately, I haven't been able to follow the guide as well as I would have liked to. I'm going to show you guys what I mean in a bit. But long story short, this is a guide that is a instruction of how to paint a top tier model. I'm not a top tier painter. I'm just trying to learn from them. So not quite succeeding isn't a failure, but you know, I'm gonna do some more work on it. But no point in me standing here and talking into that camera. Much better pointing that camera at that guy. Now we're going with this sort of top-down view for a couple of reasons. The main one is, of course, that the most interesting things are on the top of the models. We need to be able to see them. So before we get into the cape, I just wanted to show off the hair a bit. Now there's nothing fancy about this hair. It's very simple. In the actual Games Workshop models, the hair is like it's a strong red that goes back to red. So it goes back to black. So it really draws attention to itself and draws your attention towards Archaon's head. But I don't like the sort of semi-magical flaming hair idea. So I wanted to reference back to the fur cloaks that the old Archaon model have. Like they wear their cloaks and then they have fur on top of that. So this hair is painted in the same color scheme as the fur cloaks of the older Archaon models. So you can sort of see that there, but done a little bit nicer. We're going to do more comparisons between these two when I've finished this guy. So yeah, nice and simple with the hair. Just wanted to throw it back. I also think that even without the detail, the bright horns, the gold, and the bone sort of frame Archaon's head, so that you still get drawn towards his head and that part of the model. Now onto the cloak. So it's kind of hard to describe how you've failed at painting something when you don't know if your listeners know how it should look. But the basic idea, sorry about that, is that this is supposed to look kind of leathery, like a bit like worn leather. Right now, it kind of hints that way, but it also looks really rough and really like the highlights are thick. I just not succeeded in doing the feathering technique that Max's tutorial was talking about. I've just not been able to do that well. So I actually contacted him on Twitter. I quoted him and said that, now I'm testing out his technique. Looking forward to that. He thought that was cool. And then I posted a picture of this and saying, I don't think I've quite succeeded with my work in this so far. And he actually gave me a tip to how I can try to gain back a bit of that original color. So I'm really looking forward to trying that out and seeing if that can... it's not going to salvage it. This isn't going to look like an heavy metal model in any way. But this might, help me get back more of the idea that I wanted with the cape. Like the black, the leathery, the richness in the black. And I think I've got a lot of that, but not done the highlights properly. He also suggested that I paint the inside of the cloak, which I've here just done like really dark, in a red scheme. So that sort of gives a nice contrast and something that draws the viewer's attention. Because obviously Archaon himself is very, very cold. Like dark, cold, stark. So having a nice like red, subtle, or maybe not so subtle cloak can draw some attention, create some contrast, make it a bit more interesting. So I'm going to test that out, but I'm not quite sure. But when you get tips from heavy metal guys, you should probably try them out. That's all that's really remaining on the model, actually. On all of Archaon, the Ever-Chosen giant model. It's really just finishing up the cloak. So I'm gonna go ahead and start painting some stuff, and hopefully, with any luck, I'll be finished tomorrow. Hopefully. Who knows? You guys will find out about that tomorrow. But until then, ha det bra!